Big story. Viewers, Times Now's week-long investigation into Kejriwal's rupees 45 crore perk at the height of the pandemic, when you were gasping for oxygen, has reached a critical stage with a damning new disclosure that confirms that the party is drifting from its core philosophy. It isn't just about upgrading a house anymore. It's much bigger than this. It's about intent. It's about ethics. It's about commitment. And more than anything else, it is about propriety. I want you to listen to Mr. Kejriwal from 2014. At that point, he won a lot of support because he vowed a new in politics, free from VVIP self-aggrandizement. He was the muffler man. He could have been painted by R.K. Lakshman. He rode in a wagon-R. He promised liberation from corruption and, most importantly, from arrogant elitism. It was like almost a breath of fresh air. He traveled like all of us in commercial airliners. He looked like us. He walked like us. He talked like us. Remember this Kejriwal, 2014, and look at what he said.
कल से जिस घर में मैं शिफ्ट हो रहा हूँ उस घर को लेके काफ़ी कंट्रोवर्सी हो रही है और वैसे तो जिस घर में मैं जा रहा हूँ एक 5 कमरे का घर है, लेकिन कल से मेरे कई चाहने वाले, मेरे दोस्त और हमारे जो पार्टी के सपोर्टर्स हैं, उन लोगों के मेरे पास फ़ोन आए, उन लोगों के और जो जनता के भी फ़ोन आए, उनके मैसेजेस आए और उन्हें लगा कि मुझे ऐसे घर में नहीं जाना चाहिए। तो मैं ये दोनों घर छोड़ रहा हूँ और मैं सरकार को बोलूँगा कि वो मेरे लिए कोई और इससे भी छोटे घर ढूंढने की कोशिश करे। तब तक मैं गाजियाबाद से काम करूँगा। हमें तो वो कहते हैं ना सीजर्स वाइफ, तो वही वाली बात है, हमें तो उसके लिए तैयार रहना पड़ेगा। वी हैव टू बी प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर दैट स्क्रूटिनी।
He didn't want to move in to a 5-room house, viewers, at that time, and he said, I'm going to stay in his home because I'm getting so many calls. अब आपको कितने फोन आते होंगे केजरीवाल जी जब आप एक महल में रह रहे हैं? It's a fundamental question. He also said, viewers, if you heard Caesar's wife, he alluded to Caesar's wife. He says he wants to be held to greater scrutiny. It appears that Mr. Kejriwal, after spending 9 years in power, quite obviously believes he's above scrutiny. Why are we saying this? Because, viewers, we've discovered new information which runs totally contrary to the ethos of Mr. Kejriwal. The Mr. Kejriwal that charmed us in 2014 when he announced his great movement for change, as he called it. Earlier we told you how 45 crore rupees of taxpayers' money was splurged to rebuild the Chief Minister's house, even though the tender document clearly specified that the money was requisitioned only for a renovation. Clearly something changed. Why, we don't know. Was the change in the nature of the work even sanctioned? We don't know. If it was, why did the tender documents misrepresent the real picture of the scope of work? We don't know. If it wasn't sanctioned, then on whose authority was this reconstruction, this flattening out of his residence to build this massive palace done? We don't know. There are just no answers. Because Mr. Kejriwal thinks he's above scrutiny. While we await answers, though, and we're going to persist, we're going to continue to ask, we've learned that the construction being undertaken goes beyond building a palatial house for Mr. Kejriwal. Now, viewers, I have once again large number of documents. Documents which Times now show you how AAP envisioned a massive chief ministerial complex by taking over the entire expanse of the entire Flagstaff Road, not just flats. Some even flattened to the ground to be incorporated into the larger chief minister residential complex. This means the structure they are building would take the size of the development site from 4.75 acres to 7.2 acres, viewers. And what does this encompass? A park for Mr. Kejriwal, the Aadmi, to walk in. Badminton courts for him to play. Huge lavatories, bathrooms, conference rooms, a whole host of things have been included along with the residence. Viewers, watch this. Documented evidence.
This is a story of the transformation of a humble Aam Aadmi to the khas ruler of Delhi Darbar. The man who once wore a humble muffler and drove around in a modest Wagoner today envisages himself as not just the Chief Minister but the Raja of Delhi. Let's remind you of the humility this Arvind Kejriwal displayed in 2012 when he was first elected to power.
कल से जिस घर में मैं शिफ्ट हो रहा हूँ उस घर को लेके काफ़ी कंट्रोवर्सी हो रही है और वैसे तो जिस घर में मैं जा रहा हूँ वो एक 5 कमरे का घर है, लेकिन कल से मेरे कई चाहने वाले, मेरे दोस्त और हमारे जो पार्टी के सपोर्टर्स हैं उन लोगों के मेरे पास फ़ोन आए, उन लोगों के और जो जनता के भी फ़ोन आए, उनके मैसेजेस आए और उन्हें लगा कि मुझे ऐसे घर में नहीं जाना चाहिए। सो मैं ये दोनों घर छोड़ रहा हूँ और मैं सरकार को बोलूँगा कि वो मेरे लिए कोई और इससे भी छोटे घर ढूंढने की कोशिश करे। तब तक मैं गाजियाबाद से काम करूँगा। हमें तो वो कहते हैं ना सीजर्स वाइफ, तो वही वाली बात है, हमें तो उसके लिए तैयार रहना पड़ेगा। वी हैव टू बी प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर दैट स्क्रूटिनी।
But how did his ideals, the humility, get corrupted by power and a key to the public coffers? The project of vanity in the midst of a raging pandemic has been exposed by Times Network in Operation Sheesh Mahal. From the 45 crore opulence to the renovation not rebuilding farce, all of it has been exposed. Even an 800-year-old monument was raised to make a palatial bungalow for the DJB CEO. Today we tell you a story of unbound greed for personal aggrandizement, which runs totally contrary to the ethos of Mr. Kejriwal and his great movement for change, as he called it.
Let me show you. I'm currently standing outside the officers' flat 4547 Rajpur Road, Delhi, which is situated right behind CM's camp office. And I will request my camera person to come just a little further and show that some sort of construction and demolition work is currently going on here to make way for CM's area to be expanded. The houses of IAS officers, judges were directed vacated so that CM's residence, the area surrounding his residence and office area could be expanded.
The AAP has not just raised the old structure but expanded the CM residential complex from 4.75 acres to a massive 7.2 acres. For this, IAS officers and judges were evicted by the DJP to bring 8 flats and 2 Sarkari bungalows into the fold of the CM house.
This blueprint which will show the area which is going to be redeveloped and built into a larger chief ministerial complex. Now this is where the chief minister resides currently. This is the chief minister's office, his camp, and this is the area that he currently occupies. I'm going to grade it for you. The blueprint shows that instead of this area, which roughly comes to about 4.7 acres, they're going to expand that area and take over the residential areas which are around it, which happens to be 2 bungalows and 8 flats. All of that have been vacated. So from 4.7 acres, this entire area is going to be incorporated into one chief ministerial complex. What does that come to? That comes to roughly 7.2 acres.
Times Now also access eviction notices served to those shunted out to make more space to house the chief minister. Years back, Mr. Kejriwal talked about humility and fiscal prudence, but today the same man has raised an entire street to build himself this killer of vanity.
Viewers, there was a time when 5 rooms were too much. In 2014, they were too much. 9 years ago, they were too much for Mr. Kejriwal. And he says, my supporters, my voters, my own colleagues don't want me to live in this 5-room mansion. Today, viewers, today, 4 acres is not enough to house Mr. Kejriwal's persona. Viewers, how did this happen? What does this say? Does power corrupt? Absolutely. That's what Lord Acton once said, didn't he, viewers? How can a man who in 2014 said 5 rooms too much for me, I'm an Aadmi, I want to live like you, today think that 4 acres is not enough, he needs 7 acres. Viewers, let's open this up. Let's ask some specific questions. Dr. Piyush Joshi is with us, Ravi Srivastava with us. These are committed AAP supporters. Ravi Srivastava has been a bureaucrat who fought against corruption in the public sector, viewers. I know him well, very well respected man. He has great humility. He's an AAP supporter. He probably doesn't want to see his movement drift like the way it is, away from its ideals. But I'll bring him in. First, Dr. Joshi. Dr. Joshi, how did this happen? How does a man who didn't want to stay in a 5-room house, whose supporters like you said, called him, आपने उनको फोन किया और बोला ऐसा मत करिए केजरीवाल जी, ये इंपोज कर रहे हैं आप लोगों पर, मत कीजिए ऐसा, आप आम आदमी हमारे साथ रहिए, आप हमारे जैसे रहिए. आज उनको 4 एकड़ कम पड़ रहे हैं, उनको 7 एकड़ चाहिए, उनको महल चाहिए. How is this happening, Dr. Joshi? How does this happen?
So let us just begin it from the very start. You know, he used to be an Aam Aadmi, now is the Chief Minister of Delhi. He has multiple responsibilities at his disposal, and with a very, very hostile central government and with an even more hostile LG after him. So he has a multitude of responsibility. He needs many resources to govern Delhi properly. Number one. Number two, as you have been saying that this structure or this house of the Chief Minister of Delhi, mind you, it is the house of the official residence of the Chief Minister of Delhi and not a registered property of Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, number one. Number two, this has been built over a period of 2 to 3 years. And so a transactional audit by the CNG must have been done of whatever payments have been done. And if the CA and AG did not raise any flags over in their transactional audits, that means they did not find any financial discrepancies. So if they did not find any financial discrepancies, I'm surprised why are we even talking about it. Number two, now whether the payments or whether this house which has been built is built in a legal way or is built in an illegal way. If there are no legal issues, then I think he is well within his rights to construct such a house. Number three, if whether Mr. Kejriwal has derived any personal benefits out of it. To my knowledge, this is an official residence of the Chief Minister and not a residence of Mr. Kejriwal, so he has not shunted money. So when it comes to that, all he is trying to do is to make the CM of Delhi more resourceful. Now coming to the Times Now report, that you have been doing this Sheesh Mahal, Operation Sheesh Mahal for quite so long, I would have been really happy if your investigative journalism extended to Mr. Satyapal Malik. If when it comes to the martyrs of our Jawans, we should have investigated that why the aircraft was not provided to those Jawans. It should have been, it should not have taken us an Hindenburg report to look into the affairs of or mismanagement of the Adani group. It would have come from our own media houses in this country. So I think, when it comes to that, when it comes to the martyrdom of Jawans, our investigative journalism does not look into those matters. And when it comes to a common man, and I dare say that he is a common man, and that is why he is being punished, because how dare he stand in the Assembly of Delhi and ask questions to the who and who of the country. जितने भी बड़े अधिष्ठाता हैं इस देश के, चाहे वो सत्ता के प्रतिष्ठानों के हों, चाहे वो व्यापारिक प्रतिष्ठानों के हों, उनको क्वेश्चन करने की हिम्मत कैसे दिखा दी?
1 second, no cross talking, please. No cross talking, lower faders, no cross talking on this channel.
Rahul, I'll just finish in 10 seconds, and then
yes, please.
So how dare he ask such questions? That is why he's being punished, and that is why he's being punished for something which is financially right, which is legally right, and which is well within the rights of the Chief Minister of Delhi.
Okay, so I just want to ask a small follow-up question.
Sure.
Dr. Joshi, you heard that soundbite of Mr. Kejriwal. That was not made up by me. Those were his words. You heard that, right? Yes, no?
True.
Okay. So I just want to ask you, he spoke as Chief Minister in 2014. He didn't speak like you or me. So did he have less responsibilities in 2014? आप कह रहे हैं कि अब उनके responsibilities बढ़ गए हैं, that he has to take on more. In 2014, he had as many departments, if not more, under him as he had today. At that time, he was happy living in Ghaziabad or wherever he chose, because he says, I want to be humble. That same Chief Minister today has had a rethink. Number one. So you haven't explained that, sir. Obviously, he has changed. This has got nothing to do with the nature of work. The nature of work is the same. So please make that point. Number two, just a small thing. You see, I don't want to get into CNG, etc., simply because, sir, the tender, this tender, I don't know if you know, but if you look at the scope of work, all the expenses are under a certain threshold of 10 crores. So this entire development project was broken up into 5 or 6 parts, and everything was kept under 10 crores. Right? Now, the rules suggest that if that is the case, he doesn't have to go to anybody. His own minister, Satyendra Jain, can requisition this. He doesn't even have to go to the LG. So the expenses were kept below a certain threshold. Number 3, the tender itself, and I have it here, the tender itself, viewers and doctor, says very clearly that this is a renovation work. There's no question of rebuilding, acquiring land, enlarging, making it bigger than it is. It was only supposed to be a repairing job. Renovation and repair. I can show you that document.
No, I'm aware of it.
Yeah. There's a new house that has been. So if you're aware of it, doctor, I'm surprised that you don't, as an Aadmi who loves Arvind Kejriwal, who's voted for him, who's supported him, who pays his taxes, would not want to know. How did all this change? How did the tender change? I can't understand. Can you explain?
So coming back to the first question that you asked, Rahul ji.
Yes.
That was very clear-cut question that the man, that means that Mr. Kejriwal has changed over a period of time. Don't we all? Mr. Rahul Shivshankar on his first day of journalism would have been a different person than what he is now.
No, I'm not. I'm exactly the same. Go back to my work. 1 second. Go back. So I started, 1 second. Dr. Joshi, I started as a print journalist, saying very much what I'm saying on the edit page of the TOI. I haven't changed my views. What has changed is the ecosystem. I was always against that ecosystem. I continue to be against the Lutyens ecosystem today. At that time, I was being cancelled because I was thought to be too right of center. 2 jobs I was not given, sir. Because I was thought to be too right. I didn't know. Having a view meant you could be disqualified. No, since you asked me, doctor, I just want to make it clear, because it always comes down to the anchor, poor anchor. Usko maar do aap. वो सवाल ही ना
मार दो, आप
पूछो। मगर मेरी बात
मार रहे हो
सुनिए,
यार।
मेरी
आप
बात
आदमी
सुनिए
को मार रहे हो।
डॉक्टर साहब,
आप
मेरी
कहाँ
बात
हो?
सुनिए,
मेरी
मेरी
बात
बात सुनिए डॉक्टर साहब, मेरी बात सुनिए प्लीज। Indulge me for 30, since you made it about me, I just want to make
No, I didn't make it about you.
two
I was drawing
two
an
Lutyens
analogy.
channels, viewers. Two Lutyens channels. In fact, one is a foreign network under investigation. One didn't give me a job because I spoke for India. I said, why is it that you call POK, POJK? And they said, why have you become so jazbati? That's the word they used.
Right.
Right?
So can I come in now?
Secondly,
Okay.
another great New Delhi-based channel. They saw all my work. The great liberals there saw all my work. They went through all my articles in the TOI and then they put it down, and I was told I was too right of center for them. I was shocked. I didn't know at that time that that could be a disqualification. Because I've always written what I speak. Nothing has changed. So I find it very remarkable that Arvind ji has changed. And not change, I can understand you can change your outlook. But I can't believe that you trade your soul. That doesn't happen.
Now, that is what I'm
That doesn't
trying to tell
happen.
you, Rahul ji, because you know what you insisted upon, that your core values remain the same over a period of time. Fair enough. But with the experience, a person matures, you know. So the
अच्छा,
core
उनकी
values of
core
Mr.
value ही
Kejriwal-
बदल जाती है.
साहब सुन लो मेरी बात. What I'm trying to tell कि भाई अरविंद केजरीवाल जी की जो कोर वैल्यूज हैं, जो प्रिंसिपल्स हैं, तो वो भी सेम है भाई. हेल्थ एंड एजुकेशन में रिफॉर्म करना है, पानी बिजली को देना है, ठीक तरीके से हर आदमी तक पहुंचाना है, और उसके बाद में बेरोजगारी पे लगाम लगाना है.
Okay.
But when you grow, when you realize from day one as in the chief minister's office to now approximately 8 years into the chief minister's office, he has understand that how many responsibilities are there on the shoulders of the chief minister, and he needs more resources. Number one. And then when you said that you do not want to get involved into the what CNAG has said or not said, every transaction has been is audited by the CNAG.
Sir.
It is only about
Sir.
the LG. When you are talking about the less than 10 crores mark,
Sir.
it is only about whether the file has to go to the LG or
Sir.
not. The CNAG does the whole transaction audit of the whole of the Delhi budget. That is what I am trying to say.
Right. How do you know that the CNAG has not made any negative comments on it? We don't know. We have to find out.
I'm sure.
No, tell me something, Dr. Joshi.
With the bigger Times now is investigating.
We will find it. We will find it. We will find it. But I just want to ask you, Dr.
I
Joshi.
also let you know every CNAG report
Dr.
is
Joshi.
uploaded. Once
Dr.
the audit
Joshi.
is done, it is uploaded on the website. So
Fine.
it is for each and everyone to see.
We'll see. But Dr. Joshi, 1 second. This was done by the Public Works Department, by the way. Okay?
Yeah. So,
And it is incumbent upon the government to submit its accounts for audit. We don't know if that was done. We don't know, viewers, because the top brass of Kejriwal's government, whether it is Times... You see, after we started picking up this story, other Lutyens channels that usually do not pick up such stories picked it up, viewers. We were stunned. We were surprised that they picked it up. Even on their channels, the AAP senior leaders don't come. They don't come, viewers, just like they don't like to sign on files, they don't come to answer questions. Now, I don't know why. Bhai, if it is the CNAG report has given you a clean sheet, hold it up and say, Times now.
nobody's
talking
saying
rubbish.
they did not raise any red flag.
Okay.
Nobody's talking rubbish.
Now, number
Okay.
3, viewers, he hasn't still answered how the tender terms change. Hawai mein badal gaye. Renovation becomes reconstruction. Can you explain how that could have happened, doctor?
All I am saying, it was not illegal and no red flags
How
were
do you
raised by
know?
CNG, so it was perfectly
How
legal
do you
to
know?
do this.
How do you
Number
know?
one.
How do you know?
How do you know it was illegal?
Sir, how do you know? I
How
can't
do you
trust a
know?
person who
If-
said
if-
in 2014 कि मुझे तो बड़े घर में रहना ही नहीं है.
Rahul
How
ji,
can I trust
it
a
is your
person like
choice.
this?
The people of Delhi trust him. The Aam Aadmi Party has become a national party. The people of Punjab trust him.
Okay.
And more states are going to trust him
So
from
tell
here
me
on.
something,
How
Dr.
I'm
Joshi.
asking when
Dr. Joshi, tell me something.
Where does your investigative journalism go?
Adani issue
when
came
we
up.
talk about the martyrdoms of Jawan.
Okay, doctor, these questions about martyrdom are very important questions. Doctor, one
Why
second.
don't we investigate?
Doctor, 1 second. Doctor, 1 second. Just like you are talking about reports, one journalist who has a bias against a particular individual goes and interviews another individual who has a problem against that individual without one letter, without one proof, without one document. Here I'm showing you documents, viewers. And I'm supposed to do an investigation on one man's claim. Tomorrow I can say, viewers, that Kejriwal's commode is not 4 lakhs, it is 88 lakhs. And that I called that person and I told him, "Aisa mat khareediye." Will you do a story just because I say it? No, viewers, you won't, because you're not foolish. People have agendas, viewers. And if they have the proof to back it up, they should come out and say it.
So do media houses.
So no, sir. I'll tell you. Times now has no agenda. I'll tell you what my agenda is. My agenda is to get answers. Excuse me, doctor. My agenda is to get answers for the public on where 45 crores were spent at a time. Viewers, now listen to this. At a time when Kejriwal's own government was saying that they did not have money to buy medicines or erect beds or buy oxygenators, but 45 crores they had, viewers. And I showed you what 45 crores could have got you by the way of beds, even classrooms. Viewers, 7 to 8,000. 7 to 8,000 children could have been housed in classrooms with 45 crores. In fact, that number might even be more. I don't remember. I'm just going to pull out that graphic for you. What 45 crores could have bought you? And I think Monday or Tuesday we put out that graphic for you. And we'll
what
put it out.
191 crores could have brought?
So yes. But sir, that 91 crores, that 91 crores. Okay, Dr. Joshi, I'll just get the BJP to respond to you. 91 crores you spent, Shazia Ilmi, of taxpayer money. Of taxpayer money. Okay, 1 second. Yes. Of aircraft that was sought to be bought by the UPA, viewers, because aircrafts after 25 years can fall out of the sky. Houses don't, viewers. Houses that are constructed 40 years ago can't just fall out. First of all, what did he move in there for when he said, "I don't want to live in a house with more than 5 rooms"? But he moves in there. These are all issues, viewers. Let's be focused about the issue. Don't get distracted. They don't have answers. They don't send anybody to respond from the higher echelons. But nonetheless, I want to ask Shazia Ilmi. Shazia Ilmi, this 90 crore aircraft, some number of crores are spent on the Prime Minister's trip to go and campaign, we are told, in Karnataka. All this is coming up. This is also an expense at taxpayer cost, etc. Can you explain to Dr. Joshi why you have nothing to answer?
Yes, I can.
Okay, please tell me.
So first of all, we're talking about the Prime Minister of India, India being India and a nuclear state, and what it means to be the Prime Minister of this country and what that entails. And I think that's good enough. Coming to Kejriwal, and my own experience of the man has been
No, but you haven't answered. You haven't answered the question. The question is, expenses are being made also by BJP, says Dr. Joshi. Why aren't you answering about those expenses? Poll expenses, that expense, this expense, Mr. Rupani's aircraft. These are the kind of things.
Yes, we will answer. Yes, I mean, Aam Aadmi Party, have they any documents? Have they been wanting to protest? I think they stopped protesting against the corruption or the expenses of any other party, knowing very well that earlier it was all about we will be different, we are not like others. And now, if there's any serious allegations of turpitude and corruption, they will say, see, we're just like the others. Now, that is the biggest difference. This was a party born of a movement claiming to be different from everyone else and seeking politics of transformation. Whereas now, every answer to every serious allegation...
So I'm asking you...
I mean, completely...
I'm asking you, Shazia,
just blatant
straight
corruption and extravaganza.
They have shut the doors on the press. So I'm asking you...
So
I'm asking you, as the guardians of the public, at least you speak up for them, you say, why isn't the LG ordering an inquiry, number one? The BJP has already gone and moved his office and said, bhai, kuch kariye. Number two, why aren't the CNAG putting out a report if it has done due diligence? Though I don't believe, viewers, at this moment, from the little I know, that the CNAG would have gone over this, because it has to be submitted. I don't know if it has been submitted or not. That's another fundamental question. So that has to be something that we need to verify. But more than that, viewers, why hasn't an FIR been filed if you suspect all these things? Very quick question to you. Please answer this straight.
Yeah, but I will answer that. But let me answer all the other questions that have been asked by the spokesperson of Aam Aadmi Party. If Arvind Kejriwal really needed the resources, and he says that they were not good enough, surely he did not need curtains worth 1 crore, sanitary fittings of 1.5 crores. How does that exactly connected with the leakages on the roof? The former
fair enough, but who will investigate this? Someone needs to investigate it. When is the LG going to be asked by the union government to input? No, 1 second. You haven't given me an answer. You see, it's frustrating, viewers. I sit here, I bring out all these facts night after night, but there is no process to investigate this. 1 second, Miss Ilmi, I know you have rebutted. Let me bring in Ishkaran Bhandari. Ishkaran Bhandari. Put this into perspective for us. Dr. Joshi has one response, Shazia Ilmi has another. Put this in perspective for us. I want to bring in Tehseen Poonawala and also Ravi Srivastava. Yes.
Rahul, firstly, congratulations. After a long time, there is a genuine exclusive which one channel is doing based on documents. So congratulations to your entire team. But let us deal with the facts here and start with Mr. Kejriwal's own words, where he said Caesar's wife should be above suspicion. So before you came to power, or when you came to power inoculation, you wanted to have the standards of a Caesar's wife. No suspicion should come to you. But when you come to power, you build the golden palace of Nero, who after the 64 fire in Rome, acquired all the land, 200 acres, made artificial lakes, gold palaces, gold drawings, and it was called the Golden Palace of Nero. What Mr. Kejriwal has done while the country was suffering in COVID is the equivalent of what Mr. Nero did, or the Emperor Nero did at that time, and Kejriwal's palace is no less than a king's or emperor's palace. And all that happened after that, he lost all credibility, and later on they had to open it to public. Tomorrow this place also may become 10, 20 years down the line an example of how money was spent, and Delhiites may be paying tickets to visit and see what does a Vietnamese marble look like. I have never seen it, so I will be very happy to pay money and go and see how does this marble look like. Tehseen may have seen it, may have it in his house also. But coming to the more serious aspect of this, which is this: when you come to power, you say Delhi Secretariat ke andar AC ka bill bhi hum bharte hain. So employees who are working for the government, they should not have AC because the taxpayer is paying for AC. Toilets may be AC laga hua hai. That was your principal stand when you came to power. What do you do when you come to power? You have pots which are golden pots for you to take a dump in a golden pot. That's more megalomaniac than Louis XIV. So that is happening on taxpayers' money, and that needs to be answered. Secondly, whether it is legal or illegal, CAT does not do a pre-audit. Let the bills be submitted. They will do an audit and they will come with a report. And what is the cost? Was it authorized? Was it not authorized? Was it notional loss? Was it real loss? Why best marble of India is not sufficient and you had to import marbles? Why did you have to have 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, whatever the amount of curtains? All that will come out in an audit report. Okay. Let us wait for that. What you have done as a great journalist is show the facts. Now it is for BJP, the LG, the citizens to move to appropriate authorities. And I am very, very sure there is no way to rules allow this level of expenditure to be done by any public officer on his own house.
Okay. Tehseen Poonawala, is Kejriwal facing a credibility crisis? Straight question, flat question.
Yes, he is, Rahul. And I have witnessed the transformation of Kejriwal. And unlike the allegations made on you by the respected doctor on this panel, and I've had the pleasure of knowing you, you have not ever changed your position. You continue to remain and take the position you do. So to say that somebody else has changed, no. Rahul, you were critical of the government then, and night after night on your show, I come on your show and I'm very critical of the present union government. You don't stop me, so you haven't changed your position. But the fact of the matter is, when Mr. Kejriwal was in this whole charade of this Anna movement, he would ask anyone to step down on the slightest of accusations. Now, Mr. Kejriwal has completely done a U-turn and says, no, I have done no corruption. And like I said, the fact of the matter is that the rules of not going to take prior permission are meant for emergency spending. So if the government needs to purchase something in emergency, for example, during COVID, oh, they forgot to bring oxygen during COVID, but let me go. If you want to get oxygen, so those are where the rules are to be made. Those rules are meant for that intent. Every legislation has an intent, not that you get yourself, as Ishkaran said, a golden pot in which you can, take a dump, or you can or you could use the washroom. That's not what it is meant for. So the fact of the matter is, this is flushing down taxpayers' money, no pun intended. Point number two, and more important point, the CAG was very critical of the Kejriwal government in terms of spending ad spend. It was very critical on other issues of corruption. If CAG is a barometer of recommendation, why did Shri Kejriwal step down on those issues? Why that time he said CAG is not the final arbitrator, and these reports, mind you, were submitted by Manish Sisodia ji in the assembly. The CAG criticizing him for ad spend. Every single advertisement had Kejriwal ji. Kejriwal ji, in a small union territory with a small budget, spends more money than most big states do, than most nations do. How? So I think these are questions that need to be asked. This is not good for democracy, and you cannot get away under technical reasoning.
Okay, Ravi ji, please respond, sir, to Tehseen Poonawala.
Rahul, the day one, the report, this particular issue was opened, I was in the very first debate. And you are an accredited journalist, no doubt about it. I read your articles as well in the Times of India. The same Times of India wrote down just 2 days before that all these documents have been provided by the Bharatiya Janata Party. Now, any document supplied by the Bharatiya Janata Party, I have my own apprehension.
This is not expected of you, sir.
They may not be correct.
This is completely incorrect, sir. Ravi ji, this is not right. This is absolutely no. I take severe. No, please lower his feet. I take severe. I need to respond on this. I take severe offense at this nightly castigation of media viewers. If you want to go to friendly media, go sit there, sir. If you want to go to a media company that actually asks you the questions, then be prepared to answer them. कीचड़ मत उछालिए सर. मैंने नहीं बोला कि मैं कल बड़े 5 बेडरूम के हाउस में नहीं रहना चाहता. ये मैंने नहीं बोला. आप खुद ही सुन लीजिए. This is what Kejriwal said, viewers. I didn't say it. You have to hold people, as he says, accountable. We are under scrutiny, he says. Caesar's wife he invoked. There was another wife. I don't know if you know, viewers, in the Philippines, Corazon Aquino's wife. And she had, viewers, hundreds of shoes. Corazon Aquino would talk about propriety all day. And you know what happened to them. So, viewers, listen to Kejriwal's bite once again from 2014 and ask yourself, is he the same Kejriwal that you voted for or that you support or you thought was a breath of fresh air? Just listen to this one more time. Listen to it.
कल से